Shalom, welcome back to the Midrash Rabbah Parsha series. Today we enter Parashat Pinchas through the eyes of the Midrash Rabbah. And the portion begins with a surprising gift, peace. The Torah says that Pinchas turned back the anger of Hashem. And because of that, Hashem gives him my covenant of peace. Pinchas acted with zeal. He stepped into a moment of spiritual collapse. The people were falling into immorality and idolatry. A plague was spreading. And yet, the reward is not called a covenant of power. It is not called a covenant of victory. It is called a covenant of peace. And the Midrash Rabbah opens this section by saying something very deep. Great is peace, because the world only stands through peace. And the Torah itself is peace. The Midrash brings the verse, its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. That means the goal of zeal is not zeal. The goal of correction is not harshness. The goal of judgment is not destruction. The goal is peace. This is important because sometimes people use holiness as an excuse to become cruel. They say, I am fighting for truth, but inside they enjoy the fight. They enjoy being angry. They enjoy feeling superior. The Midrash does not let us stay there. Even when Pinchas is rewarded, the reward is peace. In other words, if your passion for God does not eventually bring you back into humility, healing, and peace, then something inside the passion has become mixed. The Torah is showing us that holy fire must end in holy peace. Then the portion moves into a census. After the plague, Hashem tells Moshe and Eleazar to count the people again. And the Midrash gives a beautiful image. It says, this is like a wolf that entered a flock. After the attack, the owner counts the sheep to see how many are missing. Hashem is not counting Israel like objects. He is counting them like a shepherd, counting wounded sheep after danger has passed. There are moments when a person survives something and does not even realize heaven is counting him again. After a fall, after confusion, after sin, after loss, after a season where something inside you was damaged, you may think, I am just trying to move on. But from above, there is a holy counting. Hashem says, who is still here? Who is still standing? Who can still enter the land? The Midrash gives another image too. A shepherd receives a flock by number, and when he returns the flock to the owner, he counts it again. Moshe received Israel in the wilderness by number, and now, near the end of his leadership, he returns them by number. That is leadership. You do not just inspire people at the beginning, you carry them until the end. You notice who is missing. You notice who is wounded. You do not treat souls as a crowd. You treat them as entrusted lives. And this is why the census in Pinchas is not dry mathematics. It is spiritual recovery. After the plague at Baal Peor, Israel needs to know that the covenant is still alive. They are still counted. Their names still matter. Their families still matter. Their future in the land still matters. And then, right in the middle of this inheritance discussion, 5 women step forward, the daughters of Tzelofchad. Their names are Machlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. Their father died in the wilderness, and he had no sons. So they come before Moshe, before Eleazar, before the leaders, and they ask, "Why should our father's name be removed from his family because he had no son? Give us a portion among our father's brothers." This is one of the most powerful moments in the Torah, because they do not come with rebellion. They do not come with bitterness. They come with clarity. They come with love for the land. They come with honor for their father's name. They come with a question that is so truthful that Hashem says, "The daughters of Tzelofchad speak correctly." The Midrash Rabbah praises them. It says, they were wise and righteous, and that they spoke at the proper time. They waited until Moshe was teaching about inheritance, and then they brought their case. This teaches us that truth needs courage, but truth also needs timing. Some people speak too early, and the message is not received. Some people speak too late, and the opportunity passes. The daughters of Tzelofchad show a higher wisdom. They know when to step forward. And the Midrash adds something even deeper. In that generation, the man had damaged the relationship to the land through the sin of the spies. The men said, "Let us go back to Egypt." But the women loved the land and asked for a portion in it. The Midrash says the women repaired what the men had breached. Sometimes the repair of a generation comes from the place that was not being counted. Sometimes the future is carried by those who were not expected to speak. Sometimes, the voice that saves the inheritance is the voice that the system forgot to include. But notice their language. They do not say, "Give us power." They say, "Do not let our Father's name disappear." Their request is not ego. Their request is continuity. This is a major spiritual lesson. A holy request is not only about what I want for myself. It asks, how can I protect the name, the mission, the memory, the inheritance that was entrusted to me? Moshe does something very beautiful. He does not pretend to know. He brings their case before Hashem. The Midrash gives a version where the case passes upward through leaders, each one honoring the level above him, until it reaches Moshe. And even Moshe says, in effect, there is one greater than me. I will bring this before Hashem. That is true greatness. The greatest teacher in Israel does not need to act like he has every answer. He knows when to say, "This must go higher." There is a lesson here for every person who teaches, leads, advises, or speaks in the name of spirituality. Never be ashamed to say, "I do not know." Never be ashamed to pause. Never be ashamed to bring the matter before heaven. And Hashem answers, the daughters of Tzelofchad speak correctly. Imagine that. Their question becomes Torah. Their pain becomes law. Their courage becomes a doorway for future generations. That means sometimes your honest question is not a lack of faith. Sometimes your honest question is the place where new Torah is revealed. After this, Hashem tells Moshe to go up and see the land, because he will not enter it. And immediately, Moshe asks for a leader to succeed him. He says, "May Hashem, God of the spirits of all flesh, appoint a man over the congregation." The Midrash focuses on that phrase, God of the spirits. Moshe says, "Master of the universe, you know the spirit of every person. You know that no two people are the same. Appoint a leader who can bear each person according to his own spirit." This is one of the most beautiful teachings on leadership. A real leader does not lead only one type of person. He does not say, "Everyone must be exactly like me." He understands that people have different temperaments, wounds, fears, strengths, and ways of receiving truth. Some people need firmness. Some need gentleness. Some need time. Some need direction. Some need silence. Some need encouragement. And Moshe asked Hashem for a leader who can carry all those different spirits without breaking them. This is also a lesson for the inner life. Inside every person, there are many spirits. There is the part of you that wants holiness. There is the part that is tired. There is the part that remembers failure. There is the part that wants to begin again. You also need inner leadership. You need to guide yourself with truth, but also with wisdom. Then Hashem chooses Yehoshua, Joshua, son of Nun. The Midrash says something very striking. Moshe thought, perhaps my sons should inherit my position. After all, the daughters of Tzelofchad just inherited from their father. Maybe leadership should also pass through family. But Hashem says no. Joshua served you. Joshua honored you. Joshua came early and stayed late in the house of study. He arranged the benches. He spread the mats. He guarded the fig tree. So he will eat its fruit. This is a great teaching. Spiritual authority is not inherited by title alone. It is formed through service. Joshua was not chosen because he advertised himself. He was chosen because he served when nobody was applauding. He came early. He stayed late. He prepared the place where Torah would be taught. That is the hidden path of leadership. Before a person stands in front, he must know how to serve from behind. Before he teaches, he must know how to prepare the benches. Before he carries glory, he must carry mats. And the Midrash compares Torah to a fig tree. Why? Because a fig tree is not harvested all at once. You take a little today, more tomorrow, then more later. Torah is like that. You do not master it in 1 day, or 1 year, or 2 years. You receive it slowly, faithfully, day after day. That is why Joshua is worthy. He did not only have a sudden spiritual moment, he had consistency. Then Hashem tells Moshe to place his hand on Joshua. The Midrash says, this is like lighting one lamp from another lamp, and like pouring from one vessel into another. That image is so beautiful. Real transmission does not extinguish the first light. When one candle lights another, the first candle loses nothing. It only increases light in the world. This is how Torah is meant to move from generation to generation, not through jealousy, not through fear that someone else will shine, but through the joy of lighting another soul. Moshe could have been bitter. He could have said, "If I cannot enter the land, why should I empower the one who will?" But Moshe lays his hands on Joshua generously. He gives more than he was commanded to give. That is why Moshe remains Moshe. His greatness is not only in receiving Torah. His greatness is in transmitting it. Then the portion moves into the daily offerings and the festival offerings. We go from Pinchas to the census, to inheritance, to leadership, and then suddenly to offerings. Morning and afternoon, Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh, Pesach, Shavuot, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. But spiritually, it fits perfectly. After crisis, the Torah teaches rhythm. After zeal, peace. After plague, counting. After inheritance, justice. After leadership, transition, daily devotion. The Midrash asks, why does Hashem call the offering my food? Does Hashem eat? Of course not. The Midrash answers by pointing to the angels, who are sustained by the radiance of the Shekinah. It also points to Moshe, who was with Hashem 40 days and 40 nights, without eating bread or drinking water. So the offerings are not feeding God. They are feeding the relationship. Prayer does not make God less hungry. Prayer makes us more aligned. Service does not fill a lack in God. Service repairs a lack in us. The daily offering, the Tamid, comes every morning and every afternoon. The Midrash says, the morning offering atoned for what happened in the night, and the afternoon offering atoned for what happened during the day. In that way, Jerusalem did not go to sleep carrying unhealed iniquity. Think about that spiritually. The Torah gives a rhythm where a person does not let the whole day pile up without return. Morning has repair. Afternoon has repair. The soul is not meant to wait until collapse before it comes back to Hashem. This is very practical. Start the day by returning. End the day by returning. Do not let your inner world remain uncounted, uncleansed, and unattended. That is the secret of the Tamid. Not intensity once in a while, but steady fire every day. But the Midrash Rabbah is showing us a quieter path. Peace, counting, courageous speech, humble leadership, consistent Torah, daily offering. This is how a soul becomes stable. Parashat Pinchas begins after a rupture, but It does not end in rapture. It ends with order, rhythm, offerings, and sacred time. The calendar itself becomes a way of living close to Hashem. So, the message for us is clear. When you have fire, ask that it become peace. When you survive a fall, let yourself be counted again. When you see something missing in the inheritance, speak with courage and timing. When you do not know the answer, bring the matter higher. When you want leadership, begin with service. When you receive light, pass it on without fear. And when life feels unstable, return to the Tamid. Return in the morning. Return in the afternoon. Return again tomorrow. Because the covenant is not only found in one dramatic moment, it is found in daily faithfulness. May Hashem give us the peace of Pinchas, the courage of the daughters of Tzelofchad, the humility of Moshe, the steady service of Joshua, and the rhythm of the Tamid. And may our lives become vessels that can truly hold blessing again and again. Shalom.